Why are you practicing at 2 a.m.?
I put a towel under the door, so I thought you wouldn't be able to hear me.
Well, first of all, that's a blanket, not a towel. And also, sound travels through the walls. You know that, right?
Why would sound travel through the wall? I can't travel through the wall. Well, I mean, I could, but I'm not. I'm not going to.
Okay, well, sound is made of energy, and you are not made of energy. And energy works differently.
What do you mean?
So, energy travels as a wave.
Okay, you mean this type of wave?
No.
Okay, well then you mean this type of wave.
Still not quite there.
Okay, well how about this type of wave?
That's still not the type of wave I'm talking about. The waves I'm talking about are the ones caused by the collision of particles of a substance. For example, imagine these pool balls are air particles. When energy is put into one particle, it moves and hits the one next to it, transferring the energy.
Okay, so I guess you're saying whenever I make a sound, it just pushes all the air away from me?
No, not quite. Look at this video of a slinky. I slowed it down for you so you could see what's going on. Let's say you make a sound. The energy from the sound pushes whatever is next to it, and then, after it collides, it returns to its starting place.
But how does that turn into something I can hear?
Take a look at this diagram. The disturbed air particles hit your eardrum and cause it to vibrate. The vibrations travel through your ear to your cochlear nerve. The cochlear nerve sends a signal to your brain telling you that you're hearing sound.
Well, that's fine and dandy, but you're in the next room. How come you can hear me playing?
Remember how I said sound is made of energy? When the sound wave hits the wall, some of it bounces back towards you, but most of the energy is transferred from the gaseous air particles to the solid wall particles. The solid absorbs a lot of the energy, so even though the sound will be quieter, you can still hear it on the other side.
So you're telling me sound can travel through solids?
Yeah, sound actually travels faster through solids.
Wait, how does that work? Wouldn't a solid slow the sound down?
When you look at the molecules of solids, liquids, and gases, the particles in a gas are very far apart and move around and bump into each other. Liquids have their particles much closer than a gas, and solids have their particles the closest together, and they hardly move. Since the particles in the solid are so close, they can actually transfer energy to each other quicker, which means sound travels through solids faster than a liquid or a gas.
I still don't get it. How does the spacing of the molecules affect how fast energy can be transferred?
Let's take another look at the pool balls. Here, each ball represents a particle. The bottom row represents a solid, the middle is a liquid, and the top is a gas. These are different mediums. You will notice that even though the white ball is hit at the same time in each case, the ball at the end is hit at very different times. Like we learned earlier, energy moves through solids faster because the particles are closer together, and you could see that in this video.
Okay, I think I understand that now. So sound is a wave of energy traveling through a medium?
Yes.
Does that mean all sound has the same amount of energy?
Not quite. Sound waves have two very important properties called amplitude and frequency. The one that determines how loud a sound is, which is also called its volume, is the amplitude. The louder something is, the higher its amplitude. Sound waves with higher amplitudes also contain more energy and require more energy to make them. Volume is usually measured in something called decibels. An example of something quiet would be a whisper, which is about 20 decibels, and something loud would be a jet engine, which is about 140 decibels. This is an example of a high amplitude sound wave. As you can see, the slinky needs to be pushed hard to make these big waves. This is the low amplitude sound wave. The waves are much harder to see, and the slinky is barely being moved.
What makes a high pitched sound and what makes a low pitched sound?
Right, that is the next thing I'll talk about. The frequency of a sound wave determines its pitch. The frequency is determined by how many waves happen in a certain amount of time. More waves means a higher frequency, and a higher frequency means a higher pitch. A change in a medium can also affect the frequency of a sound. Also, frequency has its own units just like amplitude. They're called hertz. When you pluck the high note and low note strings on your bass, you can actually see the lower pitch string, which is a thicker string, make fewer waves than the higher pitch string, the thin one on the bottom. This causes them to make notes with different pitches. Something interesting about pitch is that we actually cannot hear things at every frequency. Humans can only hear things between 20 and 20,000 hertz. Other animals can hear more frequencies. For example, dogs can hear between 67 and 45,000 hertz.
But how high-pitched are those noises? I don't even know what 1, 10, or even 1,000 hertz sounds like.
Let me give you some examples. The lowest bass drums usually go is around 40 hertz. Birds chirp between 1,000 and 8,000 hertz.
Okay, is there anything else about sound, or are you just going to keep ranting about sound at 2 a.m.?
I can tell you how to destroy things with sound.
I'm okay with that.
Every object has something called a natural frequency. When a sound comes into contact with an object and its frequency matches the object's natural frequency, the object will start to resonate. This is when the object begins to vibrate and amplify that sound. Depending on the object, if the amplitude of the sound is too high, the object will break. The best example of this is breaking a wine glass. You can find its natural frequency by tapping it with a spoon. If you play this frequency back at the glass, it can shatter. This concept is actually really important in engineering. You wouldn't want a bridge to resonate with the wind and begin rocking, or for a nut to vibrate off when a train is approaching.
Oh, I see. Well, that's interesting, but it's 2 a.m., so let's save the engineering talk for another day.
Okay, that's fine, because this was a dream anyway.
What do you mean this was a dream?